In this report, you're going to see the best recipe for selecting the right lures to consistently catch quality fish throughout the summer months. We actually caught a grand slam this trip while exploring some new waters. And so I'll walk you through the highlights of this trip, and at the end, I'll explain the recipe in detail, and you're going to be surprised with how easy it actually is. So at the start of the trip, I was throwing the skinny lipper. This is a great time to cover water. You can see I'm doing a fast retrieve. I'm doing a lot of jerks, trying to get attention to these fish that are most aggressive. Here's the first fish of the day. There we are. All right, first fish of the morning. I got Lisa Fitzgerald here, CCA, and Lo Morrison.
Hey.
We're at Cedar Key doing some fishing. All right, solid way to start off the morning here. Big old trout, sun just starting to come up. So at this point, we're still using different lures, trying to see, okay, what are the fish dialed in on? I'm still using the skinny lipper, and I just hook up right now the second time. Lisa has the Prawn USA Junior, and Lo has the Topwater. And just when I was starting to think that the skinny lipper was the ticket, Lisa hooks up with the Prawn. There we are, double. Now we're in them. Oh, mine just came off. Is that a trout as well, or is that a red? Ah, redfish.
It's a perfect little fish. That's what we need for recruitment.
Yeah. And here's the next strike. On this retrieve, I was working the skinny lipper, and then I decided just to start reeling in for the next cast. And as soon as I started reeling in, that's when the redfish hit. Ended up being a fun size red. As the sun got up a little bit higher, the fish were less aggressive, so I switched to a paddletail. I switched to the Mulligan, and this is a gold digger color Mulligan. So I went a totally different color from Slam Shady, which is white, to gold digger, which is black. Here's the next strike. Oh, there we go. Oh, trout. Came up and hit with a vengeance. Just when I thought we had the full variety of catches, Lo hooks up with the Moonwalker. So he's throwing the Topwater, and this is well after the sun was up. And so now we have 4 different lures all getting action. So Topwater red, well done.
The Moonwalker.
Solid. Oh, there it goes. Oh, I just missed something. And so as we kept fishing down the shoreline, we all were getting a bunch of action in spite of using very different lures. This is just another great example of the importance of getting yourself into a good spot. In this case, again, we continued to catch a variety of species, but this didn't happen throughout the day. We did come across a very different situation. So in this next spot we went to, only one lure worked, and Lo caught a monster snook. I can't show this spot, so only the picture. And after that, we were going to a different area and came across some tarpon rolling, and it looked like they were actually feeding. And so we made a stop, and we were throwing all of our lures in these tarpon, and nothing was working. They were not eating anything. They were not interested. Then I put on the Prawn USA Original on a 1/4 ounce jig head and immediately hooked up. I jumped 2 of them. Then I got this camera back on, and so here's what happened. This was an amazing ending of the day. Yeah, it's just gonna drift and coast through here, and it's a matter of time before one eats.
There you go.
That's crazy. Yeah, I cast over to the left of me, there was a lot more. That was insane. Okay, mine just came off. That was cool. We got a bunch of tarpon right here.
Let it sink and then real slow.
But let it sink for like 5 seconds to get it down, and then just do a slow roll. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the best tip I ever learned for tarpon is they like a straight retrieve, and watch Lo's rod over at the left. You'll see it bump. So he's doing a straight retrieve with the prawn and gets slammed, fish on. There we are. Oh, that one's going crazy.
All right, all right.
Did you catch it?
Oh, you still got him.
Or got another one.
All right, keep that one on, Ro.
Nice. I just had one. Oh my gosh, we almost just doubled up right there.
I think I threw it another one.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think I actually jumped 2.
That's what it looked like. It looked like the one. All right. Oh, there we go. Got him. Oh, that was awesome. Oh, that was so cool.
Want to say an epic day?
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Unfortunately, none of us had any gear that was equipped to land these tarpon, but we had a ton of fun going after them. Here is the next one that struck. I already got one. That's insane. This one feels heavy. Oh my gosh, this is incredible. Oh, mine just came off. So I wasn't even mad that the fish got off, because these tarpon were so dialed into shrimp that as long as we were just near some, we saw one roll, we just cast by it and they would come and eat it. It was an amazing bite. Oh.
Comes up.
All right, Lisa's on again.
Only a 10-pound test.
In spite of only having 10-pound braid as the main line, Lisa actually fought this fish to perfection and actually got an official catch.
Come on, leader fish.
Nice. Shortly after getting to the leader, Lisa tightened down the drag, and then eventually the tarpon finally ended up pulling off. But yeah, what an amazing catch that was, and what a great way to finish off that morning trip and go in for lunch. That last tarpon was at 12:15, so all of this activity happened in the morning hours. And had you told me 10 years ago that this was even possible, right? Go to foreign waters just with some lures, no live bait at all, and actually catch good fish, and including a Grand Slam, I would have said you're crazy. And if I did even somewhat believe it, I would have assumed that it would be a whole tackle store of lures. And so what I found over the years is that less is more as long as you have a good recipe. And so I'm going to share at least the best recipe that I found, and I'd be love to get your feedback. So if you have any suggestions or changes, please use the comment section down below. Love to hear some new ideas. As far as the macro strategy goes, I like to segment my lure types based on the time of the day. So the early morning twilight is almost always the best bite during the hot summer months. So I have specific lures for that time frame. As soon as the sun starts coming up, I change. I go to some different lures, and then once it starts getting hot, I change once again. So I have specific lures for each of those time frames to make sure to maximize my results during them. So for example, right, the early morning twilight, you notice I started with the skinny lipper. We didn't get out till the sun was already up. If it was still dark, that's when I like topwater. The topwater plugs at night are amazing. First of all, it's fun. But once the sun starts coming up, that's when the advantage starts going to the skinny lipper. It's kind of like a blend between a topwater plug and a soft plastic jerk, where it floats, but then when you twitch it, it goes onto the surface and essentially helps me extend this aggressive bite. So with these lures, right, they cast a mile. It's all about covering water, right? The reason the fish are more aggressive, whoever covers the most water probably catches the most fish. These lures do that. They cast a mile, they make some noise, they attract attention. That's awesome during the twilight. As soon as the sun starts coming up, the fish will get more spooky, they'll get less aggressive. That's when we need to switch to soft plastic. So I use both of these. These are the Mulligan Paddletails, two different colors. Lisa was throwing the prawn. We all were catching fish. The core reason why they all were working is that they basically did the same thing. They got under the surface, they got closer to the bottom. They didn't get snagged in the weeds. They were all rigged weedless, and they weren't too noisy to spook the fish, right? These paddletails, they just have a nice glide in the water. This water was calm, so that prawn was great as well, just a nice glide through the water. Most importantly though is we got it down lower, close to where the fish were holding on the bottom, and we got some strikes. Once it got hot, we had to change it once again, right? We went to some deeper water. For that time frame, I had two options. I had, first of all, the 2.0 on a 1/4 ounce jig head. This was actually what I had rigged up. We were actually looking for triple tail, and we stumbled onto that tarpon area. And so the triple tail, this is what I caught a great triple tail with the day before. It's just the 2.0 on a 1/4 ounce jig head. I assumed the tarpon were feeding on small minnows. So this is what I was throwing, and then I started throwing all of my other little minnow lures, and nothing was happening. These tarpon didn't want anything with it. These tarpon were rolling all around the boat, and they weren't touching anything. We tried topwaters, we tried everything, and finally I went back to the basics. I just went to the Prawn USA. This is actually what Lo caught that big snook with as well. But I went back to this, I got it on the bottom. Lisa had mentioned that she saw some mud coming up, and so, okay, maybe the tarpon are feeding on the bottom, and sure enough they were, and they must have been feeding on shrimp this exact size, because as soon as we switched to this, it was lights out. We all switched to it, and we ended up jumping 12 tarpon that morning, which was awesome. What an awesome bite that was. And so that's the strategy, right? It's actually very easy. There's not many lures to choose from. As you saw, I was changing colors, and it didn't seem to matter. It's really about the profile and depth control. And if you want to get these lures, they're all at fishstrong.com. I'll put links down below where you can get them. To get the best deal though, I recommend getting the bundle, the Ultimate Tackle Bundle. We have all of these lures in that bundle, which I take with me on every trip during the summer months, but we also have a couple other lures that are great during the winter time too. So with just this one bundle, this one small bundle, you can be ready for pretty much all conditions and all seasons. And best of all, for anybody who buys that bundle, we actually send lessons. It's a mini course that shows how to rig each lure, most importantly, exactly when to use each one, how to control your depth, and just how to maximize your overall results. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions at all about this recipe or about these lures, or any suggestions for other lures to try out and on similar conditions, please use the comment section down below. Always love to hear from you. Any of the questions, I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time and watching. We hope to see you again soon.